Hello. Hi, Donna, Stevie. Wow, Donna, I love to hear that. Glutes are sore. For me, whenever my glutes can be sore, I think that's a great thing because the glutes are so helpful in in keeping our posture, our alignment, in really taking the pressure off of the front of the body where there is so much pressure. So to have the glutes be sore from working, that's really great. It's going to be great for spinal health, for hip health, knee health. And so I love to hear that. And I think it was, and especially was as a good sore. And, I think a lot of us are like that. We really do actually like to feel sore because we feel that we did something. And I know that I like that. After I taught a class on Saturday, my whole trunk was sore in a good way. Like I actually felt it for a day or two after. And I thought, wow, utilizing some muscles I don't usually use. And that makes us feel good that we're doing something and staying strong. So love to hear that. Hi, Carolyn. Nice to see you. All right. So hopefully we'll have enough more good soreness today. I mean, that's what we're here for. We're here to create the most stimulation possible that will grow muscles and develop muscles. So that is the goal, a good sore. I might actually say that more often. Let's go for the good sore. All right. Anything in particular today that's going on or that you'd like to say other than that lovely good sore quote? All right. So we will get to it. Creating strength in our body, balance, bones, alignment, and doing what we can to stay strong and healthy. That's the goal. All right, let me get back here. Okay. So for today's practice, bringing the awareness to where you are today. What's your energy level, your level of fatigue, what's going on in your body, showing up for your practice, committing to finding that connection first in the practice of mind and body, of taking the time to slow down the mind, taking the time to bring the mind into the body so that you could be as safe as possible when you do the practice. And then when we do the physical practice and we are creating those demands from our body, our bones, that it is the appropriate place that we create that stimulation. And that is how we're going to build strength, build muscles, keep ourselves strong so we could do all the things we want to do. And being very present moment aware is really important for that. And then as a side benefit, when you are in the present moment in your mind, when you are able to regulate the nervous system, to manage mental energy and to be in this present moment, you also allow other healing to take place. And you allow your body to find that balance metabolically, physiologically, that it's always trying to maintain that homeostatic balance where repairing can take place in the background. So see this really, truly as not just I'm coming to a yoga for osteoporosis class to strengthen my bones and my balance, but rather I'm coming to take this time out for myself, to ground my mental energy into this present moment and to allow my body to be in the healthiest place it can be. And so that's really what we're doing. This is really a sacred time that we do for ourselves, that we show up for ourselves. And over time, all of this time that we show up for ourselves adds up in the form of better balance, posture, alignment, stronger muscles, stronger bones. And when you have that down here, up here, you have the confidence to allow yourself to do all the things that you want to do in your life and keep playing and keep dancing and keep participating in life so that we always enjoy life and we always live it to the fullest. And that's really all that we can hope for. That's the goal, is to be the best version of ourselves and enjoy our life to the fullest. So with that said, let's take this moment, this intention to set up our space. We're going to come down into the ground. We're going to connect our mind and our body. If you had 2 blocks and wanted to do a pretty big opener for your chest, You could do that where you would have the blocks like this on your mat. And I'm assuming if you are choosing 2 blocks, then you actually have that in your practice. So if you do want 2 blocks, get 2 blocks. And then blankets can act as blocks. The goal here is to put something under the heart to allow the heart to be elevated away, to be supported in a rainbow shape, in a back bend shape. And I'm actually going to begin with I'm going to use 2 blankets today because I want to put a blanket on my belly for grounding. This is actually a pretty heavy blanket. And I'm going to put this across my midsection to really ground my back here. When you do start to manipulate your upper spine, and the upper spine is being pressed up, sometimes the tension translates into the head or the neck area or into the low back. So having a blanket in your belly, especially a heavy blanket, is very grounding, gives you a sense of comfort, and your nervous system a sense of comfort, so that you allow for more relaxation to take place in the joints with the ligaments and tendons and muscles in the way that we like in the beginning of this practice. I will use a blanket and take the blanket and roll this blanket up into as tight as I can get it, because then I will get the biggest opener. This really is one of my most preferred ways to do a spinal extension support, is really with a blanket. I've got a lot of different blocks and props that do things, and I do have an egg block that I love for real deep work. I think that this is a really nice, gentle, effective, so it's gentle yet it is very effective, is to have a rolled up blanket that you put your on your mat. Then coming onto the ground, reaching your hand away, and then bring yourself so that your spine is supported. You feel that spinal support, and you put your bottom on the ground. So your tushy's on the ground, your spine is on the blanket. And take your blanket, bringing your blanket onto your belly. So 1 second, I'm having work done at my house. So that's what that is. I have plumbing is happening, so they're cutting pipes. So get yourself situated while we wait for the noise to pass. Just ask them if they could be quiet. Actually, I realize they can't. I have a pipe that's leaking, and they're cutting the pipe. So I don't think I can ask that because it's a leak. All right, well, this actually then, so today with the noise and the distraction that we're having to go through, here's what I would say, is that in life, sometimes our life gets really noisy and more noisy than usual. And we have to actually block out the distractions of life. And so today, if there are any distractions, notice that the mind goes to those distractions, and then bring yourself back to the present moment, using the breath, using somatic awareness, dropping your mind into your body to keep your mind grounded. That's what's happening here. We're trying to take the mind, and instead of allowing it to jump around and go all over the place, we want to really bring it to this moment, connect to our breath, connect to our bodies. So in the position I'm in with the blanket behind my body, the blanket on my belly, feeling nice here. Take the arms to the side. Let's do a little bit of movement. Keep your mouth closed, breathing in and out through your nose. Inhale to let the arms come overhead. Exhale to bring the elbows down to your waist. Inhale. And exhale. Let your palms be up towards the sky. Let the forearms be away from your body. So the farther away the forearms are in the hands, you'll notice you'll get a little deeper in the shoulder joint with the movement.
Closing your eyes, closing your mouth, breathing in and out through your nose. Inhaling, the arms go overhead. Exhaling, elbows go towards the waist. And see if you can let your arms go out a little wider. Maybe you need to go a little slower. So do whatever feels appropriate for your body. Exploring your shoulder, seeing how this feels. For some of you, there may be limitations in your range of motion. Noticing that if that's the case. Keeping your shoulders healthy is paramount to happy, healthy aging. And the shoulder joints can get a lot of wear and tear from life, from stress. And then bring yourself into the position where you feel the biggest stretch. So take your arms out and away from you. Heart is up towards the sky. Really push your heart up. You'll feel a deepening of the stretch in your body. So this is taking yesterday out of your body. And if you do this often, if you do a supported back bend often, then you could keep your posture in tip-top shape. And posture is an integral part to bone health. Bring your awareness to your neck, to your head. And this is particularly good if you're on a blanket because it's rolled and there's a downward movement. So begin to let your head go side to side. Side to side. And try to go as far as you can side to side, noticing what you notice in your head and neck when you're stretching. Then press your chest up towards the sky a little more when you do this. Bring yourself back to center. Reach your arms a little wider, a little farther away from you. Maybe take your fingernails on the ground and slide them away. So extending your body. And then try to come overhead and then away. So use your fingernails on the ground if you're able to get that close to the ground. And if you do have enough space, you could actually maybe go all the way down with your hands, like you're making snow angels. And you've been here for a little while now, so we may have a little more of an opening in the shoulder joint. More freedom of range of motion. And bring your hands down alongside your body. Bring your palms down onto the ground. Exhale. Inhale, bring one hand up at a time. Slowly let the palm reach up towards the sky. Try to touch the floor behind you if you can. And then switch. You inhale to lift your arm up and back. And you exhale to come down. Switch one at a time. Stay in your body. Feel what you feel. And see if you could manage to get away from the distractions of the other sounds. And then switch your hands so that one goes up and one goes down. really articulating your shoulders here. Notice what you feel on your belly. Eyes are closed, so you're feeling your way through this. And then bring yourself back to neutral. Arms are wide as they could be. Palms are up, feeling the stretch wherever you feel it. Let's do a little with the legs and the lower body. So we're doing a moving meditation, grounding our mental energy, connecting to breath, really feeling and exploring the joints. In particular, we're experiencing the shoulder and the hip now, which are ball and socket joints. So try to be very connected to your body, feeling and noticing what you notice, letting all other distractions, whether it's current sounds, thoughts from yesterday, thoughts from tomorrow. Soles of the feet are on the ground, kneecaps are pointing straight up towards the sky. Exhale. Then inhale, let your knees go to the side. Keep your soles of your feet on the ground. Bring your awareness to your hips and feel your hips stretch side to side with your kneecaps. Notice if you feel anything in the low back. Keep your spine on the blanket. Keep your spine isolated where it is. You'll get a deeper stretch. Having your spine in this position, you'll feel a little more in your hips. Side to side, noticing where you feel the stretch. If you're ready to go for more, let your knees go a little farther. Notice your pelvis. Notice your low back. Don't let yourself roll off the blanket and then back up to center. Feet are pretty close together here. They're about a little wider than body distance. So you're not really wide in your stance yet. Want you to close your eyes. Feel how the torso moves. The knees are going side to side. Feel that. Pelvis may be tilting, noticing what you're noticing about your body. Are both sides the same level of tightness? When you feel the stretch, and then bring yourself back to center. Let's take the feet wide now, off the mat, pretty wide. Letting your legs go side to side. Feel your spine on the blanket, feel your knees coming in, and notice the stretch. You're stretching the back, the waist, and the side of your hip joint. Notice the symmetry or asymmetry of your body. And then when your legs come over to the left, keep them there. Let your head go to the right. Reach your right hand long and up if you can. Push your heart up towards the sky. Feel that stretch on the right side. Make sure it feels appropriate. You've got support of spinal extension with your prop behind your body here. So you may have to limit your range of motion when you do this. But feel what you're feeling, noticing here maybe some differences. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back up to center. Let's go to the other side. Let your knees go to the other side. Reach your hand long. Reach long with your hand. Press your heart up towards the sky. Take one more breath. And bring yourself back to center. Take the blanket off your belly if you did put a blanket on your belly. Take your arms overhead, stretch your legs long. And then bring your arms by your side, open your eyes, bend your knees. So having the blanket behind our back or whatever props you have, if you need to shift, we are going to do a little bit with trunk stability, lifting our legs up and down. So if you have a prop that's not comfortable, you need to switch, then switch now. The rolled up blanket is really nice and soft. We're going to see here our balance going from side to side and our trunk stability. Really having stabilization in the trunk is really important for a lot of things when it comes to our body. So we're going to start to lift one leg up at a time, noticing what you notice. I like the eyes to be closed because then you could actually feel and notice a little more. Want you to notice the mechanisms of the hip flexors contracting to lift your leg up and then lowering. Hands are down alongside your body. With your eyes closed, do your knees come in and track nicely? Do you feel anything in the low back when you do this? Being very familiar with your body. Noticing if there's a shift of the ribs, a shift of the pelvis when you lift a leg up. So this gentle movement this way, one leg at a time, this can really help to balance out the hips, balance out the pelvis. And that way when we do the postures to create bone stimulation, the more aligned you are, the more osteogenic load in the bones to develop the strength that's important for strong bones. One more each side. And then bring your legs down, maybe noticing some heat from the hip flexors working there. Bring yourself onto your side. And then bring your hand onto the ground. Push away from the ground and bring yourself all the way up. Clear your space of any extra props. We'll need a block, a strap, and a blanket. So if you have anything extra, clear your space. Take your blanket. Bring your blanket onto the mat. Do some bigger movements to move through the body and stretch the body here. Hands are forward. Bring your pelvis forward. Bend your hip joint. Bring your tushy into the air. Head to the mat if you can get it there. Front spine is long. Inhale forward. Try to get your pubic bone towards the mat. And then you bend your hips, tushy in the air. Try to get the forehead to the mat. Arms are straight. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Feel the belly stretch. The front of the body stretching. Bring yourself forward. Stay here. Exhale. Inhale to look over one shoulder. Back to center. Inhale, other shoulder. Looking side to side. Stretching some rotational muscles. Front of the body. Bending the spine. Back to center. Bring yourself back and up and come all the way out. So that movement forward and back like that is a really great movement to warm up your body, especially if you needed to warm up your body quickly. So that's a nice warm up for the body. Let's move on to some postures that have an intention of strengthening muscles, strengthening bones, strengthening areas in the body that are important for muscles and bones. So working with the wrists here and the core and the front of the hip joint gets nice and strong here when you do this. We're going to do plank, any variation that's appropriate for you. Let's put the toes back and stretch the calves first before we come in one foot and then the other. So stretching your calves, pushing your heel back. Bring yourself back. Let's take the wrist. We're going to stretch the wrist. You can either do this here on your mat, a little bit more intense. For some of you, this may be a little too intense. Putting the backs of the hands on the on the mat and the palms are up. So this is one way to do this here.
If it's too intense for you, you can come up and bend your wrist this way and then this way.
So you're either doing the weight bearing to stretch your wrist, more intense, weight goes back, and then flipping the hands under, palms are on the ground, heel of the hand is pressing back towards the wall. And then when you let your body weight go back with your hands on the ground like this, you get a pretty deep stretch in the wrists. So see what is appropriate for you, either with weight bearing or without. Noticing, is one side tighter than the other?
And believe it or not, even tension or tightness in the wrist can translate into tension in the shoulders and even elsewhere.
So we're all connected. So keeping flexibility in your body is integral to health, just to health, to all over health, happiness, health, all of that.
And bring yourself out. Take your hands, really take that tension out.
We're going to come into plank.
So for some of you, the whole warm up of wrists may be what helps you come into the plank with the hands right underneath. I mean, ideal, we want stacked joints. So ideally the hands would be underneath the shoulders, not out to the side and not too far forward. Pointer fingers are forward. So moving into this if you need for wrists, or coming onto fists for wrists if you need that. So try to modify according to what your needs are. Create the tension in the wrist that's necessary to stimulate bone growth. Take one foot back and then the other. You decide, are you going to be in this full plank or do you need your knees and your shins on the ground? Whatever it is you need. And then let's add a little movement if you can. So these are all suggestions. If you need to hold static posture, you can. If you'd like to lift one leg up, lift one leg up, strengthening that hip joint that you're on your standing leg. Let's switch. Bring your awareness to your hands. Bring one hand off if you can or if you want to. This is not mandatory. Switch. And then bring that down. Push away from the ground with your hands. Push away with your feet. Try to drag your hands and your feet towards each other. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself down and out. Stretch your wrists. Let's come into a camel posture, a back bend. Bringing that rainbow shape into the head. So take the block, you're on your blanket, take the block where your ankle joint is so you can actually squeeze. So if you squeeze the block with your ankles, and then you squeeze your buttocks to actually correct your pelvis or to point the tailbone down. So try that, try squeezing your tushy and softening your hamstrings. Squeeze your tushy. If you squeeze your tushy, you can actually draw the tailbone down and then get a freedom and a lift to bring this back bend into your spine. So you could do this with a strap, putting your hands through the strap and getting that support from the shoulders to come into the back bend, the camel posture, or you could clasp your hands or hold on to your elbows. So whatever works for you. Shoulders are back and down, shoulder blades slide towards each other. Squeeze the tushy cheeks, draw the tailbone down, squeeze the block, keep that alignment in your body. And let's enter the posture, reach down, back, and up, bending the upper spine. And then I want you to talk. Say la, 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 ba, 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 da, da, da. And see if your voice is restricted. And if it is, bring your throat back up. So sometimes people put their heads back here and that'll affect your voice. And then you know you're not in the correct, safe posture. Pushing into the strap, down and up. Bend your upper spine. Take one more breath. Bring yourself out. Come all the way out. Strap off to the side. Sit down in your block to take a rest, catch your breath. We want to move through the effort and the ease, makes it manageable for us, makes us more likely to do the strong work if we know we have a break after. So give yourself this break. Take one more breath. I like to move into side plank, which is the hardest posture. It's the hardest, I think, muscularly. We're going to come on to the side. I do want to show you variations because I will say that this is a posture that people can hurt themselves with if they're not prepared to do this. So with the Vasisthasana, the full variation is this. You roll onto the outside and you come here. If you are here and it's too intense, you can bring 1 foot forward. And that can be a nice way to come into that. The other variation for those of you that really need to not go into that intensity is to come into the leg on the ground and lifting your leg up here. So this is also a nice lateral chain posture to strengthen the body. So choosing whatever variation is right for you, and please do so. I can't see you, and so I want to make sure that you stay safe, and the importance is to create strength safely. And this is one that can actually affect shoulders if you're not lined properly. It's a lot of intensity to put your body weight on the side of your body. So do what is appropriate for you. It's tremendous for strengthening hips and for strengthening spine, which is important with osteoporosis. Take 1 foot back and then the other. Have your feet touch. Lift your body up to roll onto the pinky toe edge of whatever side you're on. And then pushing away from the ground with the pinky toe edge, reaching your hand up is forward. Push away with your hand, push away a lot with your foot. Really let that lateral hip joint get a lot of work here. Deep breaths. And then bring yourself down. Let's come to the other side. I'll come here to face you. Come with your hands underneath you. Bring your feet back. Feet are touching. Pelvis lifts up, rolling onto the pinky toe edge. Coming into side plank on this side. Push away from the ground a lot with your feet. Let that pinky toe edge be very helpful here. Spine is long, heart is lifted. And then bring yourself down, out. Coming to catch your breath, close your eyes. Keep your mouth closed, breathing in and out through the nose. Let your breath settle. Breathe down to your pelvis. And then open your eyes. We move to strength postures and stretching postures. Let's come into a stretching posture where we are going to pull on the vertebra spine to strengthen the vertebra. Bring your blanket to the top of the mat and then come to sit at the edge of that blanket. You're going to need your block for this. Reach down, grab the flesh, move the flesh off to the sides. And then bring your block on the floor behind you. So bring it to the left side. Let's go to the left side first. Bending the left leg, holding onto left leg, sitting nice and tall. Take your right hand on your left leg. Take your left hand on the block behind you. Flex your right foot. Push your right foot down and your left foot to get as tall as you can in your spine. Exhale. As you inhale, lower ribs, middle ribs, and upper ribs. Rotate. Bring as much rotational force as you can into your spine safely. Be in your body to feel what's appropriate. Push down with your foot, down with your leg. Really push down to get elevation and rotation. Take one more breath. And then slowly unwind your spine. Push your block over to the other side. Let's come to the other side. Straighten your leg and then bend the opposite leg. Take your hands on your leg. Get nice and tall in your body. Take your hand on the block, hand on the leg. Push down with the feet. That'll help to activate the posterior chain to protect the low back when you add that rotation. Long body, exhale. Inhale, lower ribs, middle ribs, upper ribs. Rotate. Keep the tension, go with the maximum tension you can safely. Long neck, lower the shoulders, use the shoulder blades to press forward to elevate your heart. Take one more breath. And then slowly bring yourself out. Your choice, you could come into a wide leg stance or you could bring the soles of the feet together in Baddha Konasana, deeply stretching your hips. So either your legs are straight out to the sides or you bend your knees. So finding a way to rest from that posture to the next. And then bring yourself up and out. So I'd like to come up today from a down dog through a plank safely and guide you through that. If you know that you don't want to do plank, if you have issues in the upper body or you feel that you don't want to do that sequence and you want to come forward and up from here, you bring your foot forward and from here bring yourself up. If you are going to do the plank down dog, let's bring the blanket onto the mat. Bring your hands forward, pointer fingers are forward. So a little more weight bearing in the upper body today to strengthen the upper body. You turn your toes under, your feet are pretty wide here. Hands are spread, pointer fingers are forward. The bending, in order to do this safely, needs to take place at the hip joint. So do this first, where you're pushing back, letting your belly come to your top thighs. This is where you bend. Notice that the front of your spine is not getting any shorter. It's not collapsing. Lower ribs are not moving towards the spine. You don't have any of this happening in your body. That's what we want to make sure that we have. So inhale forward. And as you exhale, lift your tushy up, bring your belly towards your top thighs. Walk your feet back a little bit so you have a wide enough stance to come forward into a plank. And then start to push one foot at the time towards the ground. Keep your head elevated here. So if you keep your head lifted, you'll ensure that you keep yourself safe in the upper back and neck and in the front of the spine. Exhale. Inhale forward. Exhale, bend your hip joint. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Forward and back. Forward. Come forward. Bring your knees down. Rest for a second. And then flip the toes under. We're going to come to a standing position. Pay attention to your spine here. Push yourself back. Bring your belly towards your thighs. And then from here, if you can, start to walk your hands back. If you feel that this is too much for you, come onto your knees and come up that way. Keep your head lifted. The front of your spine is not bending. You have a very deep hip bend. Come all the way back so you're like a skier on the slaloms, right? The skiers. So your spine is straight here. You can have your fingertips on the ground or bring your hands up onto your thighs, keeping yourself in this deep hip and knee flexion. Toes are forward. This is how you bend safely to garden and to do things, really practicing keeping these shapes in your body. Take one hand on top of the other, gazes forward. Push your body weight back to your heels. Push your heels into the floor, squeeze your tushy, and then bring yourself up slowly. So that's how you would get up safe from the ground. Let's clear this. Bending at your hip, keeping your front spine safe. And then get whatever you need for the floor. Either be closer to the wall or get a chair. Put your strap off to the side. You might need your block for this. So I like to begin in mountain in a standing position to get my joints stacked. Coming into mountain, hands are down alongside the body. Then bring your body awareness down into your feet. Notice in your feet, if you had your feet in half, the front part is where the toes are, the back is where the heels. So in this position, before you do anything, notice where the majority of your weight is. Is it in one heel or both? Is it in one set of toes or there? And is it more front or back in your body? And then work to try to get that to be the same. So all 10 toes press into the ground. Big toes press a little more because it's a bigger surface area. Then bring your awareness to your heels. Push your heels down through the center of your heels. That'll actually maybe shift your legs and your joints in your legs. Push both feet down strongly so you feel equal. And then your hands are down alongside your body. Shoulders are forward, up, back, and down. Reach down with your fingertips. Press your hands back. And now the torso. Elevate your spine. Lift, and elongate your spine. Lift your heart. Imagine there's 2 helium balloons on your clavicle bones. And it's floating your clavicle bones up. Push your feet down. Push your hands down. And find that length. And be active. Push your hands back so you feel the back of your body activated. This is mountain. Move your thumbs back like you're hitchhiking. You may even notice a little stretch in your hands, your wrist, your fingers, your thumb. If you do feel any tingling or numbness or anything in your hands, try opening your shoulder more. So press your shoulders back. Slide the top of the arm bone back in the socket. Use the back muscles to slide together to help you find that. Take one more breath. Let's come into tree. Bring your body weight to one side. Bend the knee out to the side. Bring the foot up in between the ankle and the knee. Push your tailbone down to the ground, your foot down to the ground. And then you try a different variation of tree today. So static is here. If you have trouble, you may put your hands on your waist and put your elbows back to activate the upper body a little more. Or bring your hands like this and draw your hands towards your body. If you want to go a little bit more advanced, maybe you start to let your gaze look up towards the sky. That'll definitely bring in some more aspects of balance. Or you could add movement as if there was wind around you. So choose something today that gets your joints to dance. And then bring yourself back to the static version of tree. Bring yourself forward, bring yourself out, back to mountain alignment. Bring your awareness to your feet. All parts of the foot is pressing down, equal weight everywhere. Body weight to the other foot. Bend the knee, foot to the side. Bring your foot up on your leg. Push down into the ground. Reach down with your hands. You choose here which variation you like. Hands are on the waist, elbows back, a little bit more stabilizing, or arms along the side of the body, stabilizing, letting the gaze go up, or bringing in some wind. So embrace the wavering today. Embrace the balance in the joints, the dancing in the joints. Bring yourself back to a static variation. Hands are down. Take one more breath. And then bring your knee forward and down. Reach down with your hands into your mountain. And then shake your joints. Shake your body. Bend your joints. So let's move into triangle. So you either do this with a block or with a chair. Hip joint and spinal stimulation. Take your feet really wide here. Swiveling on your heel, bring your toes up. Toes go underneath the chair, back heels away from you. Bring your shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Reach down with your hands. Exhale. Inhale, raise your arms. From here, reach along with that front arm. Keep that front leg straight. You either bring your hand onto the top of the chair, or you bend your hip joint a little more and you bring yourself down onto the seat of the chair, or you bend even lower onto your block. This is hip joint bending. And then you try to point your tailbone down to the back inner edge of the heel, and then rotate your trunk forward. Long spine and rotation. Push your feet into the floor. Try to move the knees away from each other. So create a lot of tension and stability in the bottom part of your body. Whatever your hand is on, you're pushing away to get length in your upper body. Take one more breath. Go slowly as you inhale to rise. And then bring yourself out. Legs are together, coming to the other side, moving the chair if you're using the chair, block if you're using the block. Wide stance. Prepare the feet, front toes underneath the chair or to the side, back legs away from you. Shoulders are forward, up, back, and down. Exhale. Inhale to reach long, reaching your hand up, bending that front hip joint. Feel that stretch coming into the back thigh. Either you're here, or you could bend your waist a little more, your hips a little more, not your waist, your hip. So it's the hip that bends, long spine, or you come all the way down onto the ground. Whatever is the appropriate way for your body. You want to make sure you're not rounding your upper body. So it really is a hip bend with a long spine and then rotation. Deep breaths. Try to move your knees away from each other. Push your feet into the floor to get that stability in the bottom. Take one more breath. You're going to go slow when you rise. Long spine, reach your head long, and bring yourself up. Bring yourself out, back into the mountain alignment. Equal weight in both feet. And shake your fingers. Coming into the twisted triangle, a chair if you need it, a block if you prefer to use a block. Pretty strong posture, triangle. Bring a foot forward. The foot that you bring forward is the one you're going to turn over. So bring the foot forward, bring the back foot back, 2.5 feet distance with your feet. Hands are on your hips and the elbows move back. Push your feet into the floor, exhale, and then inhale to bend forward, keeping your spine long. Either your hand is on the top of the chair, on the back of the chair, or on the block. And this is determined by how flexible your legs are because you're doing a deep hip flexion. Then you rotate your spine forward, really push the feet into the floor, push that back big toe edge into the floor to get a little bit more spiral force in your body. The hip that you're turning towards, you are really pulling on that posterior hip capsule. Long spine rotation. Push that elbow back. Open up that shoulder. Rotate that spine, rotate that torso. Last breath. Bend the front leg. Bring yourself forward, bring yourself up, bring yourself out. And let's come to the other side. Little longer holds today with these postures. So maybe you are noticing that. Doing whatever's the right time for you. We need to be in a posture for at least 8 seconds, up to 1:12 to stimulate the muscles, which will then stimulate bones. Take your feet 2.5 feet apart. Hands are on the waist. Push your feet into the floor, bending forward at your hip. Either at the top of the chair, the back of the chair, or the block, depending on your body's ability to bend, to rotate, to load into joints. Use your breath to help ground your mind. Last breath. Take the tension out by bending that front leg, leading with your head, bring yourself up. Come back to Tadasana Mountain. Take one more breath. Let's take your chair. We're going to do a dancer's posture. So for many, you'll need a chair or a wall. This is a pretty strong balance posture. And you want to be safe. Let me show you this posture before we come into it. So we're going to load into that front hip, bringing our body weight forward, loading into that front leg, coming into dancer. If you are not able to grab onto your back leg, a variation for you may be to bend the leg and to come forward. So keeping that standing leg straight, bending forward into that standing leg, bringing weight into that standing leg is the goal in the dancer posture. And then if you're able to reach behind and grab the foot, you could do that. So let's see, if you could grab the inner edge of the foot, so grab from the inside of your foot, that'll help with that hip going into external rotation. And then bring your hand forward. Let's tip forward into that front leg, push the foot into the hand and come into dancer. Reach up with your hand, push back with your foot, and breathe. Last breath. Slowly bringing yourself out. Bring yourself all the way down. The other side, chair if you need it. Sometimes you might have to have your hand on the chair when you do this, coming into dancer and maybe using it there. So do what's appropriate and safe for you and your body. Coming onto the standing leg, bend your back foot, reach back, and if you can, grab to the inside edge, do that. Loading into that front foot, tipping forward, pushing into the back foot, bring your hand up and push into that back foot. Look forward, find a gaze that you could stare at. Take one more breath. Slowly bringing yourself out. Come all the way down. Find your mountain Tadasana. Hands are down, push down with your feet. And then release. So let's do one more standing posture. We're going to do chair pose. Take your block and actually get your strap as well. So get your strap. So with the strap, we're going to use the strap in the hands, putting your hands through. So the strap is going to go on the hands so you can push out, activate the shoulder girdle, and lift the arms up. We'll do that in our chair posture. And then get your block and bring your block between your knees, or between the kneecaps, or between lower legs or upper legs, whatever feels better for you. We're going to come into that deep hip flexion. So keep your toes forward, look down at your toes, make sure they're pointing forward. Bring your strap, push out on your strap, inhale, and then exhale. Let's inhale, push the tushy back, bend the hip joint, squeeze the block, and lift the arms up. Coming into chair. Squeeze the block, bend deeper in your hips if you can, if you want a little more stimulation in the hips, and then lift your arms up. Lift your toes off if you can, pushing your kneecaps back. Make sure the weight is back here in your heels and the back of your body. Deep breaths. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself up, bring yourself out. Keep your strap beside you on the ground. Block beside you. Back into mountain to catch your breath. Breathe down to your feet, keep your mouth closed. And then relax. Chair off to the side. Get your blanket. Coming down with awareness without rounding your spine, bring your foot forward. Hands are on that thigh. Push into that thigh as you lower down. Come on to your tushy. And then come all the way down onto the ground. Get your block. Bring your block. Knees are in. Block is in between your lower legs. Squeeze your block. Your feet or toes are pointing up towards the sky. We're going to do this twist that we hold. So take your hands to the side, palms, you're going to use your hands here. Contract your core, flatten your belly towards your low back, flatten your back towards the ground. Exhale, and then inhale into a hovering position. Wherever you can hover comfortably, or just not so comfortable, but you can still manage. Press your belly button to your spine to protect your low back. Squeeze the block. Letting your legs, you could go towards unbending your legs if that's appropriate for you. Try to keep that right shoulder on the ground if your legs are to the left, or left shoulder on the ground if your legs are to the right. One more breath. And then bring yourself back to center. Bring your knees in for a second to relax. Readjust if you need. Bring your feet back up. Hands are to the side. Exhale. And then inhale into the hover. Really push the hand into the floor of the direction your legs are going. That'll help unbending the legs if that's appropriate. Find the hover that you need to maintain. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back to center. Take the block out, bring your knees into your chest. We're going to come into the bridge posture using the strap. Take your strap. You could either use the strap in your hands when you come up, or you could put it through your feet. Make a loop or tie it. You'll get a little higher when you put the strap around your legs. When you put the strap around your legs, you don't want your legs to be separating farther than your hips. So bring the strap onto your legs. Walk your feet as close as you can get them to your body. Move the blanket away from the back of the head. Slide your shoulders closer together. Arms are down alongside the body or elbows are bent, you choose. Push out in the strap, tilt your pelvis back so your low back presses into the ground. Exhale. As you inhale, start to peel your spine up. Close your eyes. Feel your torso lifting away and the weight going to the top part of your back, the upper back. Shoulder blades are pressing towards your heart. Clasp if you'd like to clasp, or press your arms into the ground. Push out on the strap. Deep back bend. Make as much of your back bend as possible. So shape of a rainbow.
Take one more breath. Slowly bringing yourself down. Lift your heels up. Lengthen your spine. Let the low back touch. Then the pelvis. Blanket back behind your head. Knees into your chest. Rocking side to side. And then your feet onto the ground. Coming into big toe stretch, the big leg stretch, the supine stretch. This is a back bend on the ground, which is safe. Draw your left leg in. Take the strap on your left foot. And then really pull the strap down so you're rooting down really firmly. Wrap your hands around the strap. Firm up your leg. Push your leg away from you with the muscles. And let's enter the posture, taking the leg towards the wall behind you. Straight leg, so you're pulling on the pelvis. Leg is moving towards the back wall. Really push that left buttock into the ground a lot. Keep the back off the ground. Neutral pelvis. Push the left buttock into the ground. Push the left leg away. Pull the left leg towards the wall behind you. Take one more breath. Take your tension out of your leg. Take the strap in the left hand, right hand to the right. Exhale. Then inhale to lengthen the left leg out to the left. Keep the leg high. Feel that stretch on the inner thigh of the left leg. Left buttock is pressing into the ground. Left waist is long. Left toes are up towards the wall behind you. Actively push into the strap. One more breath. Bringing your leg back up. Let's switch legs. Put the right foot into the strap. Pulling down, firming that right leg into the socket. Wrap your hands around. Feel the right buttock strongly pressing into the ground. Press the right leg away from you. And now guide the right leg towards the wall behind you. Feel the strength of the pull on your pelvis. So make it be appropriate and strong. Pulling on the pelvic bone. Toes are pointing towards the wall behind you. Press the leg away from you. Guide the leg towards the wall behind you. And then release. Strap in the right hand. Firm that leg in the socket. And then reach that leg out to the side. Make it very active. Long waist. Feel that right buttock on the ground. Firm up that right leg. Toes are pointing back. Push into the strap. Take one more breath. Bending your leg. Take the strap off. Bring the knees into your chest. Let your arms and your legs go into the air and shake. Settle your body. Really shake, shake, shake everything. Make sure your blanket feels good under your head. Coming into the last posture, the posture of integration, Shavasana. Straighten your legs or do whatever variation you choose. Letting go, stay connected to your breath. Gently begin to deepen your breath. Let your awareness go up and down your body to notice what you notice. Bring movement into your hands and your feet. Bending the knees, draw the knees into the chest. And move your body side to side. Bring yourself onto your side. Take your hand onto the ground in front of you, coming up to a kneeling or seated posture. Hands are together at your heart. Press your hands together.
Press your hands to your heart. We'll close with sound, the sound of humming. Exhale, create space. Breathe all the way down your spine. Bowing in gratitude. Today's practice had 15 postures that are specifically pulling and pushing on muscles, on bones, creating that stimulation deep inside. Make sure you manage your stress for the rest of the day, so whatever bone building stimulation exists in your body right now, you're able to utilize it and not let that stress response come in and wreak havoc in there. Thank you. I hope that you feel good. Definitely stronger practice, 15 postures, and we held for 1 minute in many of the postures today. So double what we normally do. All right, I hope that that was appropriate. Sorry for the the crazy noise in the beginning with the plumbers. Great. Yeah, good. Very strong. But strong and doable and manageable. I mean, this is how we're going to stay strong and do all the things we want to do. All right. So thank you so much for joining me. I have a new course starting for any of you that are interested in looking a little deeper at your metabolism of bone health. Healthy gut, healthy bones. I am offering a no lab option. So it's a lower cost option to come to. It's a 90-day program, three months. There's self-assessments for you to look deeper in your own body at symptoms that may be there from leaky gut, from pathogens, candida overgrowth, different aspects. And we'll be together on Zoom live 6 sessions for from February 7th until April 18th. So it's a pretty extensive 3-month program. You get emails throughout the whole program so you can stay on course. And it's a good way for you to start to understand how diet affects bone health and then stress. I talk about pathogens and detoxification in this program. So it's a really way to get yourself as healthy as possible. And of course, support bones and support healthy aging. So email me or go to my website if you want more about that. DebbieRobinson.com. You can contact me on there or email me if you have my email. If you want to join, because we're starting next week. All right. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a great day, and I will see you later.